Thanks. All right, let's get started. I guess, is there a call for opens? Anyone have anything to bring up today? Could be a very quick meeting then. That's good. Looking back at last week, we talked about the GitHub workflow. I haven't seen anyone supply any comments or discussions around that. That was for EDK2 platforms in the CI. We also, looks like we spent a majority of the time talking about the stewards, EDK2 platforms, the maintainers, and again, how to track the dependencies within EDK2 platforms for EDK2. I don't know if there's been any update, Mike Kenny, from you on this one. Has there been any feedback in any of the conversations you may have had?
The only update I have from last week is that the x86 client platforms, I believe there's going to be several that are going to be removed from EDK2 platforms. And I was discussing the idea of, do you just remove from the trunk, or do you move it off to an archive branch? I think the conclusion, or the approach that we're going to try to do, is delete from the trunk, but perhaps in the kind of the platform's top level directory, where there's a README for the maybe some of the Intel platforms, it may still leave a reference to the retired platform and the last tag or SHA hash that it was available before it was removed, so that anybody that's looking for that platform can at least go find it in the history and have a point in the history where it was deleted just before it was deleted. So maybe we can apply that same approach to all the platforms that are candidates for removal from the trunk of the EDK2 platforms.
So
Okay.
I noticed recently there's the Tianocore Pass OCP platform was deleted and then re-added 2 or 3 years ago. Is that one of the platforms that's a candidate for deletion again?
I can't remember which architecture is that platform.
It's x64.
And what's it called again?
It's for Tianocore Pass, but it's Perly, something like Perly Open Board BKG.
I think that's an Isaac question then.
Sorry, I'm late. What's the question?
A Perly open board package in EDK2 platforms that was removed and re-added.
Yep.
Is it a candidate for removal, or is it going to stay for a while?
It is a candidate for removal, but we can certainly talk about it if there's some use for it. We're tending to focus. So the Tianocore Pass is an open compute project system, but they're pretty limited in availability out there. And so we're tending to favor the Whitley Awanda platform, as you can get one of those. But yeah, if you want us to keep it going, it's no problem. It's currently working and booting last we checked.
No, I recently had a project as a contractor to build firmware for Tianocore Pass, and I found that it doesn't build. It's got various compiler errors and stuff. So I've got a patch to fix that. But yeah, I was just wondering. I noticed that it would be deleted and re-added, and yeah, it doesn't seem to be building at the moment.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think it also probably depends on your tool chain a lot. I mean, I think we
Yeah,
probably
good
just got it
point.
working on Windows, if I'm honest. It started out as just a proof of concept for an open compute project demo, but then AMI did some things with it for open system firmware. But they have a fork of the repo for the OCP OSF projects. I think that's also got it. So anyway, yeah, if you want to submit the patch, we certainly appreciate it, but it's not very active. It's hard to get hardware for.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, there are things like variables set but not used and stuff. So yeah, I might send a patch anyway just to get it into a better state.
Okay, thanks.
Sounds good. Are there other opens for today or other topics?
So I had one about the Tianocore docs CI that doesn't seem to be running for all of the repos that have a GitHub workflows directory. So I was wondering how we go about fixing that, or if that's a discussion to be taken elsewhere.
We can talk about it here because it is that's tools and CI related. What's it saying now on like what's a document repo that's an example that it's failing?
Let's have a look. Let's have a look. Tianocore docs. All repositories. Actions. Yeah, for example, the EDK2-uni specification.
You and I, okay. And it has failed to run a
No, it's saying there are no workflow runs yet. So it looks like GitHub Actions have been committed, but just no workflows have been attempted to run.
Yeah, so I think this is an attribute of if you look at the main page, it shows a green check mark next to the last commit. So it did run back then. I think what you're seeing is an attribute of GitHub retiring artifacts. So I think the history of the workflows, this document has not been updated in a while. And so there hasn't been any runs within the retirement period. So all of the history of previous workflows have been erased.
Ooh, I did come across another one with the C coding standards, I think. Let's have a look. That one is showing runs, but don't have any logs because it's retired the logs. Oh, that was only 4 months ago though. Okay, yeah, that's going to be it. It's just so old. It's retired everything. Is there any way we could run that again? So I can see the logs?
For like the UNI spec or something?
Yeah, all of them. I want to figure out the file names and stuff, see if they're getting uploaded correctly and all that stuff.
Yeah, I think there's a way to manually run them, if I remember correctly, if I've set up that workflow correctly.
Okay. Could you, I don't think I have access. I don't even have like, I don't think I'm a member of the Tianocore docs organization. Could you add me, please?
Yes, I can absolutely invite you to that. And then, yeah, there's in the actions area, there's a Gitbook action build. And so I'm going to kick this off right now and see if it'll do the run on the UNI one. Yep, so it's kicking off right now, but I will invite you to that organization, Rebecca.
Cool, thanks.
All right, any other topics for the day? Mike, do you know, has there been any progress on that set of changes for running the host-based tests on the OVMF package?
That's a great question. I don't see anybody here in the meeting today, unless Christine, you happen to know any status on that. I believe that was from Ray and potentially Eric Rainey and Eric Dong, I think, were the ones who presented that idea. Do I have that right, Sean, as far as who presented the proposal?
I'm trying to remember their GitHub alias. I think it was Duntan.
Okay. So no, but let me let me go collect that status this week and see if they can't give us an update next week, because I think that is a pretty valuable feature to have enabled.
All right, thanks. Any other update from anyone? If not, we can call it a day. It sounds like we probably do need to find some more topics for discussion. I know we have a long set of things, but you know, find something that is prioritized to actually get done. I don't know if Mike, you have any updates on code reviewing through GitHub yet?
No updates this week. Other than I will say I haven't actually collected the data from GitHub. I am seeing from some of my personal experience with using some PRs for code review. It does appear that GitHub definitely has added more information tracking across forced pushes. That looks pretty interesting. So it's whether or not that information in the PR scope and the commit scope are also preserved or not. Have not done that detailed book, but there are definitely some new behaviors there that look very encouraging.
Okay. A few weeks ago, you did ask around the commenting on a certain part of the patch set. When we looked into that, it does look like those comments, as long as you're commenting from the file review, you know, view in GitHub, those comments do go against the pull request, not the commit, and therefore they are not lost when a forced push is done.
Right, that was the behavior I've seen before. It was the specific ask was whether or not they've improved the comments at the commit scope instead of the file scope.
Sorry, I'm no. So when you're in the file view, you can choose to filter the file view by the commits that you want to see, the changes you want. So I think that's what you were asking for. And
Yeah,
okay.
I think so. Yeah, I think that's a new view that's shown up in the past
Yep.
6 months to a year.
Yep.
And it wasn't clear to me if you picked, like, for example, the file changes for a single commit and then gave review comments, you're saying that those are preserved, correct?
As long as you're doing them through that view, that is correct. Yes.
Okay, that's very interesting. So I need to evaluate how that shows up in the REST API summary of information for the conversations on the reviews, because previously the PR scoped ones looked one way and the commit scoped ones looked a different way. This looks like it's a PR scoped review, but then filtered down to a single commit, you know, within
Yep.
that. So it's got to be some extra metadata as part of the review comments that show that. So if we can get everybody focused on that file view alone and pick the commit to provide comments on for when a patch series is across multiple packages, with different package maintainers having different responsibilities for different commits, and we can have them focus on only providing comments at that file view, focus down to the one or few commits they're responsible for, and we can get all the information out of that. That's might be a very positive avenue to be able to collect the information for the archive.
Okay.
Well, they've also, I don't know if you've looked at it or not, but they added the GraphQL API for GitHub that I think is a lot better than the REST API is. It's kind of like their new API.
I've not seen that at all, Michael. What do you? They've changed like the REST APIs as an alternate interaction.
I'll put a link here, but it's another API that you can use that provides well, as you can see on that page, they say it provides more flexible and precise queries than the REST API. But I found that to be true in my usage of it. I've used it on our side for a few things, and I think it works a lot better for aggregating and linking information across different objects in the GitHub API than the REST API did. So
Okay.
you may be able to. I guess what I'm getting to is you may be able to find what you're looking for here as well. It's just another place that you might be able to get better info out of.
All right. And this has more than just like the file or the source code scope view. It has the review comment stuff in there too.
It does.
Okay.
And they also have a pretty nice sandbox that you can play on with this API, and you can actually authenticate yourself against your organization, and then you can run queries specific to your data on the web page. And so I found that that's a really good way to test out the queries and see what you're getting back and everything. It works pretty well.
All right.
All right, sounds good. Are there any other opens or questions from anyone? And Mike, you'll follow up again if you get a chance with Leif and the other platform maintainers to try to figure out enabling a PR process. Mike, you're either on mute or we're not talking.
So I think the best approach is probably to send out an RFC proposal to that entire community, the EDK2 platforms community, to say that we'd like to just move to the same style of PRs with the push label on EDK2 platforms and set up the branch protections around that. Even if there's no checks, right? Even if 0 checks enabled, you can still turn that on. And then as we turn on checks, it can then become blocking, right?
Yep.
Okay. So I can write up a quick proposal because I don't think it's long and detailed. We all know what that process looks like on the EDK2 repo.
Okay. Yep. Sounds good.
Okay.
All right. If nothing more, we'll meet next week. Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.